This pump is a 20F100 pump. By the end of this, you'll be confident in servicing any Flowmax that comes your way. We're going to go through tearing down, troubleshooting. We're going to go through the tools needed, what comes in the service kit. So let's get after it. We're going to need a 4, 5, and 6 millimeter Allen wrench, a couple open face wrenches, 17 mil socket, and a couple adjustable wrenches. We're going to get started by removing the fluid tube. You're going to want to loosen the nut that's connected to the exhaust valve on the bottom. And then you're going to want to take and loosen the 4 screws with your 5 millimeter Allen wrench on the back side of the pump here. Now, once you remove the fluid tube, you're going to want to check the seal that connects to the exhaust valve and just make sure there's no deformities, any cuts that'll cause problems. That's your tightening ring, and that's the seal. Next, we're going to grab an adjustable wrench, put it on the flats of the exhaust valve as well as the flats on the cylinder to break that exhaust valve free. Once broke free, it spins pretty easily. You're going to want to check the ball and seat. Make sure there's no hard material on the ball or seat. It could cause issues with priming. Just overall function of the pump will be hindered if there's any material or flaws in that ball and seat and seal. Next, we're going to remove the cylinder. You just need a big old adjustable wrench, throw it on the flats there and give it a rip. Once it's broke free, it spins freely out of there by hand. And again, you're going to want to check that Teflon O-ring seal and make sure there's no nicks, cuts, any deformities that'll break that seal. And from there, we move on to the stuffing box. What you're going to want to do here is use 2 wrenches so you stabilize that piston. You don't want the piston to spin because it could twist the bellows. Once you get that off, you're going to check that GT seal here for the same thing. Any cuts, deformities, the ball, you want to make sure there's no paint. Same with the seat. Next, we're moving on to the discharge flange. You're going to want to use your 6 mil Allen wrench to remove these 4 screws. Once removed, you just pull back on the flange, it'll pull off. We're going to set it to the side. Now, there's a few things you're going to want to check on this GT seal. Same as before. Make sure there's no deformities, no cuts, dents, nicks, it's not packed with material. From there, you're going to take your 17 millimeter ratchet and socket, and we're going to loosen the 4 nuts that are connected. All you're going to do is give a nice hefty pull on the upper flange. Oftentimes the cylinder comes right with it. You're going to want to check in here. Make sure that inner O-ring Teflon seal is not damaged, well greased. And then next we're going to want to go ahead and remove the 4 tie rods to give you better access to the intermediate and upper piston. Next, we're going to remove the intermediate piston. To do that, you're going to need a 7/16 open end wrench and a 16 mil open end wrench. You're going to want to stabilize the air motor piston above the intermediate piston so that you don't twist and crack the bellows. There's a couple things you're going to want to look for on this piston. Make sure you don't see any scoring, any scratches, any finish wore off. Again, you'll be able to notice it by giving it a good once over. But that will lead to replacement if there's any damage. Okay, on to the scary part, removing the bellows. It's really not that scary. If you've made it this far without damaging the bellows, I'd say we're in the clear. We're going to start by taking your 5mm Allen wrench and removing the 3 screws that hold the bellows flange to the air motor, breaking it. To remove it, we're going to need our 7/16 wrench, and we're also going to want an adjustable wrench on the flats of the bellows skirt, which is the metal piece at the end of the bellows there. You're going to give it a nice tug, break it free, and you'll notice that you can now spin that entire assembly without worrying about damaging the bellows. Okay, next we're going to actually remove the bellows from the flange itself. You're going to loosen these 4 screws to start, and then you're going to use 2 of them to re-thread into those empty holes that will push the flange assembly apart, therefore releasing the bellows. Now you're going to give it a nice big push. Don't worry about breaking it, you will not break it, but you got to get it out of there. So you got to give it a nice push. Voila, it comes right through. To remove the skirt, you just put each flat into a vise and give it a quick pop, it'll come right out. I am too weak to do it by hand in this scene here. So use a vise, give you no issues. Last step here, just remove your intermediate piston. Again, you're just going to do the same thing, check for deformities, make sure everything's okay. And that's that. We've got the fluid section apart. Next, we're going to go over what's in the service kit. We've got a replacement stuffing box assembly with GT seals, the upper and lower, replacement ball for the stuffing box, replacement exhaust valve fully assembled with new ball, clip, new seal, and also a package of seals to replace any that you have found to be damaged along the way.